Hi everyone. Journal 83 today. The topic is author names because people who get the book very commonly ask, like, oh, I looked at the front cover, I looked at the back cover, I looked at the title page, I'm halfway through the thing and I still haven't seen your name. And sometimes people ask me if I forgot, well, in all the rush, maybe you just did it by accident. And that's, I take it in a tender way, but obviously that's not, I teach as a day job, I teach and a night job and a weekend job. I don't teach during the summers or holidays, but the rest of the year, if students turn in assignments without their name on it, they forget to put their, I'm annoyed. And I wouldn't do that to you. I did do exactly that to everybody, but I did it for a very specific reason. And that's what the journal is about, is my reason. So let's read it now. Journal 80. Before I read it now, the title up here, Author Glory, when I first wrote it, I had this idea and I typed out basically an outline, like half a journal. And it had this structure where I was talking about, author glory. And then I talked about pursuits that offer glory. And then in the end, there was this thing about being all for glory. And it was so, I deleted it so quickly. There's just this fine line. There's something more, there's a tightrope. There's a tightrope between clever and corny, and so few sentences, so few concepts are acrobatic enough to cross it. So it fell off that wire and I deleted it and it's in the pit dying. So Journal 80, but this is a relic of that original. I didn't save over the original file name. So Journal 83, Saturday, July 20, 2024, Art, Graffiti, Glory, and Tyranny, or author names. Hi everyone. Readers of The Crown and The Caged God have asked a lot of questions. Some of those questions are frequently asked. The most frequent among them goes something like this. Why is your name nowhere to be found anywhere on or in the book? There are lots of reasons for my absence. Below, I provide a several dozen of them, n equals 6. 1. This book exists within the world of its pages. In real life and in the story, it was published by Bonston Books, so it makes sense to list the publisher on the cover. But the protagonist's name is not Courtney or C.D. Jensen, so it wouldn't make sense to put my name on it, provided my goal is to create the most immersive world I can, which it is, so my name is nowhere to be found. 2. There's a tendency in fiction, especially fantasy, to overemphasize author names on covers in a font larger than the title, which looks like tagging to me. Was a huge Monet graffitied over a third of his lily pads? Was Van Gogh's Starry Night completely eclipsed by his signature? Or did history's greats conceal their names in puny lettering so it wouldn't detract from their work? Many modern artists don't sign their paintings at all for this reason, keeping the focus on one's art, not oneself. There is some precedent for this outside of visual art. Garth Brooks was Chris Gaines, J.K. Rowling was Robert Galbraith, but everyone knew that. Dropping the creator's name entirely is much bolder. That reveals a confidence that one's work can stand on its own no legs. 3. I don't want my book to get too bossy. Musicians sometimes say their songs are like children. Bono disagrees, claiming they're more like your parents. They tell you what to do, how to behave, and I think books are the same. Just ask Patrick Rothfuss. If given the choice, I suspect he would emancipate himself from the tyrannical parenting of the Kingkiller Chronicle, so he would once again be free to write with the ergogenic aid of anonymity. 4. Continuing with the topic of music, when I see a little-known band play in a little-known venue, the singers often treat the stage like a runway. Their clothes, their gestures, their practiced swagger. They put so much effort into their appearance, desperate to be lauded as unique and interesting. They never bother to write a good song, even though songs are the show. Everything else is just social media mongering, and I prefer to focus on the music, or in my case, words on the page. That's a more productive use of my attention. And since chronic illness has resulted in a meager daily allotment of mental energy, I need to be frugal with it. I wouldn't even read these journals aloud if I thought readers would do the reading in my place. Alas, here I am. 5. The Spirit decreed, and I never dispute amused. I follow its instructions to a bold calligraphic T. In doing so, the muesli take a liking to me, or so I believe. And the fonder their feelings, the more frequently they visit, which will help with my punctuality in completing the next book. 6. When I do book signings, I'll always have something worth writing. This, Courtney. All right, that's it. Except number 5 down here, the Spirit decreed, that's a reference to Journal 73. If you, as I'm talking, as I'm chatting before I do the reading, if you watch that part, that will have a little bit more context. But the Spirit did its decreeing. It's mandating. I mean, this is like half a dozen years ago. And so this is well before the advent of generative AI, at least in the practical sense. But I expect in the future, there's going to be just like an unlimited supply of anonymous, nameless books for a totally different reason. I don't think humans are going to be writing them. It's just going to be like Kindle Plus or something. And infinity AI generated nameless books. I think that's what's coming. Same thing with music. I think we're going to have like a subscription service where nobody's actually writing them, and there's just an unlimited supply of nameless songs. With like movies and shows, what Fill in the Blank Plus is going to have that. Video games, like Microsoft, Xbox, whatever, infinity AI generated games, so you never have to replay one, right? And so the replay value is lost, or the reread or rewatch or re-listen value of all of these things. That's where we build relationships with work. And when we build a relationship with a work, we're building a relationship with the author, with the creator, with the artist, with the musician, with the whoever. And so I think what we're going to be doing in the future with all this heartless, nameless stuff is trading humanity, trading real human connection for novelty. And that's never a good trade. In the end, it's just going to be sad people everywhere on the subscription services. But in Journal 81, I mentioned that I think like a second, like an even higher renaissance is on the way. And I still believe that. I didn't change my mind between Journals 81 and this one. So I think it's just on the back seat, on that like tandem bike, we see that coming too. All the artists are going to be poor. They're going to be homeless and starving and on the brink of death. But their work will be beautiful. So we'll have that too. But I think the dominant supply of media will be without relationship, without name. And that's not this, right? This is all heart. Okay, but that's it. I hope you find connection. I hope you find real connection in what you read and what you watch and what you listen to and the video games you play, that your replay value builds relationships.